Hi, Kathy here from Kathy's Cute Creations with my daughter,
Sherry.
and we're just going to do a quick update, a little bit of talking. The first thing I want to announce is that on Friday, the 17th, which is this Friday, because today is Sunday, which is what is it? It's the 14th, 15th? I don't even know what it is. 12th.
It's the 12th.
So I had in my mind that
13th,
Friday was
14th?
the 13th, but Friday's not the 13th. Tomorrow's the 13th because the Fort Worth Fabric Studios show comes out. Okay, the block. All right. Friday the 17th of this week, Yvette, and I don't know who else, but I have been asked to join, and so we're going to be taking questions from our YouTubers. So if you got any questions, email them in, and then we'll have them ahead of time, printed out, probably some answers or whatever. So y'all know my email, Kathy at KathysKuteKreations.com. Okay, so that was the first thing I was going to mention. The second is all the products or all the items that I've made. So I've made a whole bunch of different things like the bow cozies and all that kind of stuff. So I boxed it all up and sent it down to Florida in the Panhandle because my son lives down there and they're having a craft fair tomorrow, the 13th, and the 14th. So if you live down there in Florida, you might see some of my products. Just letting you know. Okay, so then the next thing I want to tell you is a little bit about the job. So if you've been following along, you all knew that I quit my last job and it got new ownership, so I didn't want to work there any longer. It wasn't a fit for me, so I went job hunting. I got a job, which is why my videos were cut down in length, not length of the time, but I used to do them twice a week. Now I'm down to once a week because I was on a I want to call it a heavy learning curve, I guess you could say it. But it was a lot of learning involved, and it took up a lot of time, so I didn't have time to do anything.
And you work 6 days a week.
But anyway, it did not pan out. And that started in August. And so from August to October, I literally didn't make any money. So I started looking in first part of November, and then I found a job. I was offered a job. I had my first week this past week. I did some working interviews to make sure that we were compatible, that I wanted it. They wanted me, but they wanted to make sure that I wanted to stay and not leave. And so that has turned out really good. It's the same kind of work. So I work in a dental office, just a different doctor, different city. And then the next thing that I wanted to mention was the video, which I'm going to work on it as soon as I get off of here. I worked a little bit on it to get one square done. So this is a new square coming up this week, and it is the last square before we put it together. Well, this is going to be a different type of square. Now, if you look at it and you think to yourself, I can't even do it, well then don't do it, but don't leave that square out of your project, okay? If you first watch my whole video, because believe me, you know me, I'm going to make it the easiest way that it can be made, all right?
And she has struggled with it. I was sitting on the stairs, and I was talking to her, and I thought I was the reason why she messed it up, and I was not. So I went downstairs, and I had my breakfast, and I still heard her. Still heard her
up here cursing. I was cursing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you put your right sides of your fabric together. I put the wrong side twice on 2 different blocks, but that's here, not here, there. But the point is, it's going to take 2 blocks to make 1 block, but you've got to cut your 2 blocks right. If you don't cut your 2 blocks right, you've messed it up, okay? That's one thing. The other thing is, and it happens every single time that I do a square like this. So whenever it's something new, I've never done it before, so it's not like a half square triangle square, okay? It's when you're going to build up pieces and then your square is supposed to be a certain size and then you're going to downsize it. But when you downsize it, you're not putting it in a square, you're putting it in a rectangle. I cut it wrong every time. Well, this time I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't even have enough fabric to make it the size that it needs to be made. So then I have to sit there and try to figure out, well, what part of it needs extra fabric, and do I have extra fabric? Well, sure enough, I had extra fabric. But the point is that when I made the pieces to put it together, I thought that every one of my pieces were the correct size. Apparently, one of them wasn't the right size. So that's the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure your strips are the correct size. That's a hint right there between a square and a strip and a triangle, okay? And you'll understand it when you see the block tomorrow. So I had to add to it. Well, it's not a lot to add a piece of fabric to it. And yes, we had enough when I got done cutting all my fabric out. And I set all my fabric in a Ziploc bag. So I went back to my Ziploc bag, and yes, I had plenty of fabric left over so that I could add a few inches to this piece in order to make it into a rectangle. I was going to say square it up, but a rectangle. Now, I'm going to show you, there's going to be two different ways to do it, and I will explain them to you, because if you're more comfortable using a straight ruler versus a square ruler, I used a square one, then that's fine, but I'll teach it in the video. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, and Sherry gets to add her 2 cents in, because because my, you know, when it comes to names, even when I read a story, I get the names all confused.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if anybody is following the elevator girl, we were arguing about it. Was it yesterday?
Yesterday, yes.
Yesterday. Okay. She named her 2 characters.
One of them is in the past. They're male characters. One is in the past and one is in the present.
Alex and one's
Alec, A-L-E-C.
Oh, okay.
And the other one is Archie.
Right.
Right? Okay.
Okay. So I had them confused for where they were.
Archie is in the present and Alec is in the past. And
Right.
she kept saying that, no, Alec is in the future. And Archie was the past character. I was like, no,
Right.
you have it wrong. So I pulled out my iPad and I started reading yesterday's whatever. And
vlog or whatever it is. It's the
chapter
storyline.
or
Yeah,
whatever,
chapter,
whatever yesterday
yeah.
was, the 11th. It says, you know, December 11th.
Whatever.
And Saturday, December 11th. So you read that every day. It's a new,
Right.
I call them chapters. So anyway,
Okay,
so I
yeah.
read this and it's only, you know, it's like this long and that's it. It's not very big.
Yeah.
And I started reading it and she said, oh, you only needed to read this line right here for
One
me.
sentence would have got it.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
And so when every time, let me go ahead and give you the author's name in case you want to check out some of her books. So her name is Stephanie Bond.
that's it. I couldn't remember for a second.
And she has a lot of books out. And so she started doing podcasts on her books. But every year in July, she will go from July through December, and she will actually give one of her books. It's a short book, and so it's just a little bit of it. And each day, you need something.
Pause it.
And we're back.
Yes. Got his knees.
Okay, so what were we talking about?
You were talking about how the book, the book comes out. It's July 1st through December.
I think the whole month, right through Christmas, I think. But it doesn't make any difference. So she puts, and it's different amounts. One day it might only be one little paragraph. One day it might be 4 or 5 paragraphs. But it only takes a few minutes to read it real quick. It only stays up one day from 4 a.m. to the next 4 a.m. and then she takes that down. So it's not like you can sit and read the whole thing. Okay? So of course, you know, my memory's about as long as a fingernail, because it's not very long at all. So So I'm not going to remember the whole thing all the way through. I don't write it. I don't copy it. I don't do anything. But, what?
It is until December 31st.
Okay, December 31st. Okay, so that'll be the end of it. And then she started making podcasts of her stories. So she has somebody reading them, which was pretty neat, too.
I didn't know
because the very first one she put out was the Coma Girl, and that was right before this story. And so she's thinking
that.
about doing other ones. And then you can go on her website and you can order her books, you know, okay? And anyway, so the whole entire time I'm trying to guess what's going on in the story, because that's the way I am when I read a book. So, of course, there was a murder in the past. I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about book, just so if y'all are interested.
We're not going to root for anybody.
I've already told them who did it, that I was shocked who did it and everything, so it doesn't make any difference. If they want to read it, they still can. There's other stuff in it besides that one thing. But anywho, so she likes the guy in our time in The Bartender, but she also likes the guy in the past. And at this point, or up to this point, only 2 people could travel in that elevator. So I don't know how it chooses who can come and who can go. The gentleman that, now, is it the guy that actually owns,
Otis?
or is it the manager? Is he the manager or is he the owner of this hotel? And this hotel is, they're literally going to raise it, so it's going to be no more.
They're
but
leveling
at
it. They're
Christmas.
destroying it.
That's
yeah.
what raise means. But anyway. That's what raise means. When you raise a building, you're destroying it. You're putting it. I know it's an opposite word. I understand.
Doesn't make any sense.
I know, but that's the English language. It never makes sense. But anyway, so he was. I would say. I guess I don't know what he is, the manager, or whatever. But I believe he was in love with her. Okay,
yes.
So the young girl, who was the person who way back in the 70s, they had people that literally took you up in the elevator. You didn't go up by yourself. They had an elevator man, an elevator woman. This was a young girl. Well, she got killed at the motel, and they never solved the murder. They never could figure out who did it. And the only reason it got solved now is because when Virginia, which is our heroine in the story, first came in, they told her the place was haunted, that this young girl, you know, she shows herself for some people and she doesn't for others. Well, it just so happened Virginia saw her. And then when Virginia saw her, somehow that made her have access to go to the past. And the way to go to the past, and I can't remember how she found the elevator in the first place, unless she follows Otis, because I don't even remember back that far. But somehow she gets on the elevator, she goes down to the basement. That is where the lounge is, okay?
The Wayback Lounge is
right, that's what they called. So when she enters, of course, they're all, I'm going to say they're all in their hippie clothes. You know what the people wore back in the 70s, if you're my age. You kind of know. The bell bottoms, the large necklaces, and I want to call them baubles because that's what the older people call. But anyway, all this jewelry and everything, and the way that their hair was styled, and
shiny clothes,
and the lounge was full of smoke because yes, they smoked back in those lounges, so there was like walking into a fog. And then that's where she met the young bartender. Okay, so she was like looking around. And I want to think that she followed Otis down there. Well, Otis is the one that was infatuated by her.
I want to say that she followed him.
Right, and that's how, but not on the same elevator, because she didn't know it.
She just followed him to see where he was going. He moved all the crates out of the way, got in the elevator, and went down, or whatever.
And that's what she did.
She did it. She
Same
moved,
thing.
after he came back, or whatever, she moved all the crates, went on the elevator, then realized that she was able to go into the Wayback Lounge also, and in the 70s.
And she tried to constantly talk to the ghost when the ghost was in our time, but she just flittered, came and went. Well, then what's happened, you know, progressing here, she kept going back and forward, back and forward. But the problem is, with that, it's affecting her memory, and it's also affecting her brain. And when I say brain, when she got an MRI, because she gets...
CT scan.
Let's see, she got headaches from it. She got dizzy. She lost her memory. She would forget. She'd be forgetful.
She was very forgetful.
Right. And so it started affecting her job.
Right.
Because her friends got concerned. All right. So, of course, she has no insurance because all of this is in real time happening now. Okay. And the reason she got this job is that she had her degree in hospitality, and she thought, way great, because now I'm always going to have a job. I don't have to worry because everybody travels and all that. Well, then the pandemic hit, and of course she got laid off. And so this is the only job she could find, and she was down to her last, what, $10 or something? Her
something
phone
like
was
that.
about to be cut off, or everything.
And all she had was her grandmother's gold necklace, so she ended up hawking it to get money.
But when she went for this job interview, the lady that was helping her get the job told her that even though you're going to go up there, he's going to say, no, he doesn't want you. He doesn't need anybody. She goes, be insistent. He does need somebody. So that's how she more or less got herself in there. She was insistent and told him that she was told no matter how many times he said no, yes, she needed the job.
Right.
Well, it came with room and board, so that helped her. She didn't have to worry about her apartment or anything. And I think she was living with her ex-boyfriend or something at the time. But anyway, so going forward in this program, it's really, really interesting. I never, ever could figure out who the heck killed this girl. There's just so many people involved because she was, well, nowadays it wouldn't make any difference, but back then, you wouldn't call her a tart. What the heck would you call her? What would she have been called?
Which one?
The one that got killed.
Loose.
I guess that would be what they'd called her back then. Loose.
Because she had a bunch of different boyfriends, and
She
we
had
know
two
what
at
it
the same
meant,
time,
even though it didn't say it in the story. Her boyfriends were her boyfriends, so...
Well, yeah.
She got around.
Yes. And so then, of course, that made jealousy on others.
Right.
Well, when she's back there...
Not only women, but also men
who are interested in her.
Right.
So when she goes back in time, another big surprise is that she meets her grandma and her grandpa, who are not married and dating. And, of course, you know, her grandfather is infatuated by the young girl. What the heck is her name? I've already forgot her name. Oh, my. See what I mean about how I can't remember? Can't remember her name? She can't remember her name either.
I can't remember. Hang on a second. I'll remember it. Eloise, Eloise, but
Eloise. Yeah, Eloise. Okay. And she was...
Mathers, Mathers.
Okay.
Mathers.
Whatever, yeah.
But Eloise is the
Right.
one in the past, and Virginia
Exactly.
Hall is the one in the present.
Right. And so, of course, she had... When she went to the police, because now she's all excited, she sees the ghost and all this, but, she's got to keep all that to herself. Well, eventually she does tell the bartender from the past, Archie, about her time traveling. I thought she told him.
Alec is the bartender in the past. Archie is the present.
Oh, for God's sake. See, I just got them confused. Oh, my
We
gosh.
just had this conversation.
I was thinking Archie, like the comics, was in the past, and Eric was now.
Not Eric, it's Alec, but...
Alec. I just renamed the characters. What the heck? I'll
Why
write another
not?
book.
Well, they both start with A. I can understand how you get confused.
I can't even understand how I get confused. I don't think you can understand it. But anyway, if you're interested in the book, go ahead and read it because it's still ongoing and it's still confusing.
But every time you read a paragraph, it's good from 4 a.m. until 4 a.m.
Right.
And then the next day, it's the next day in the
Right.
book. So if you started the book now knowing it ends on December 31st, you're only going to read today, which is the 12th, until the 31st. So
Right.
But then it'll be available on Amazon. It should on the website stephaniebond.com. It tells you,
And her
where
books
you can buy it and
aren't
all.
expensive. They're not 20 some odd dollars or anything like that. And you can get either the ebook, you can get that kind of stuff. So
And you can, if you wanted to start it now and you were interested in,
they
you
got
could
the back
read
chapters.
Yeah, you
Got
can
online,
get them
yeah.
online.
Yeah. So, and another thing is that her mother and father, who are never present, they don't live right here. They're constantly
Gone.
Well, they're traveling, and what they do is they make me think of the young kids now who want to travel. And so what they do is they just go to a new destination, they get a job, they work, they get money, they have room and board. When they're tired, they move on. They go to another place. That's what her mom and dad does.
Right, and they're always far away. They're like in Peru or something. They're not
Bahamas, somewhere that they can't
right.
be
They're
close.
not in America.
Yeah, so she
And every time she was raised by her grandmother because her parents were always traveling with their jobs.
Exactly. And so if you're reading a story and you've actually already read sci-fi and all that kind of stuff, the saying is that two people can't be in the same place
At the same time.
Right. You're not supposed to see yourself. If you did time travel, you shouldn't be seeing yourself. What are some other things they say? I don't know, because I don't remember enough of it. But the issue going on right now is that when she called her dad and talked to her dad on the phone, then her mother wasn't present, so she's asking her about her mom, and he said her mom was sick, and her mother's never sick. Then the next time she calls, her mother's in the hospital.
Well,
They
the
don't know
first
what's
time it's
going on
because she
with her.
had headaches or whatever.
Right. So we don't
So they didn't
know
think nothing of it.
if Virginia, by going to the past, she is
Changing the
Changing the
present and
future.
future events.
right. And so you kind of think right now it's at a point where okay, so what's the bartender's guy in the back? It's Eric, right? Alex. Oh my gosh. Okay. Alex has asked her to stay. Okay? And he's listened to everything she said about the future, and he thinks it's going to be neat. The guy that's in our present time,
Archie.
he's a history buff, so he goes to I don't even know what shops they would be, but he gets the shirts from way back when, and he gets the watch. He goes to that antique shop. She met a guy at an antique shop, and he goes there all the time, and he'll buy things from the past.
He'll go to probably consignment stores and stuff like that.
Stuff like that. Well,
Like
the guy
if you went to Goodwill or
Right.
you know.
So Alex asked her to stay with him. Now she is more drawn romantically to Alex, although she likes both of the guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so I believe that Otis, if I'm not mistaken,
Otis is the older one.
right?
That he's I want to say he's the owner. I can't remember now. Now that you question it, I can't remember.
And so he has literally told her that he's going to go live in the past.
Yes, today and today's
Episode,
yeah.
episode, and he said if you want, think about it.
These are the books of our
You
lives.
can. He goes. It's an opportunity. What is this? The books of our lives.
The books of our lives. I didn't say days because
okay.
that's an actual TV show or whatever.
So anyway, so he told her he's going back there and he's going to stay back there, and if she's got the opportunity to do it. It's an opportunity of a lifetime if you want to do it. So she's thinking about
that,
it.
and he also told her that she seems that she really wants to do it. That she,
Right. So then you got to think, if that does happen in our time, because you know what's going on now, and then I mean this just opens up all kinds of stuff in people's mind, because what happens to people who literally go to work, go to their job or whatever, and literally vanish, never to be seen again? So this is for those that believe in the past and the future and all that kind of stuff. Not past meaning that it happened, but that it exists on another plane or whatever. Is that what happened to people? Did they go to the past and now that's it, they're gone?
You're talking about like the Bermuda Triangle and stuff like that?
Sort of like that, yeah.
I don't know about that.
See, it's just going to be your belief and everything. So now we're wondering, is she going to go? Is she going to stay? And if she goes, how does that affect her mother? See, we don't know. And her grandparents are literally drifting apart in the past, and I think this is what's affecting her mother. And she feels like it's all her fault.
If her grandparents are drifting apart and they don't have her mother, then her mother will essentially not exist. Therefore, Virginia won't exist. So maybe it's better if she goes into the past.
But can she exist in the past if she's never been born in the future?
Exactly.
So, see, that just opens up all kinds of questions. Okay, so I love reading books like that. It's like there's no answer to it. Well, it's just your imagination, whatever you question.
Well, it depends on what movie you believe. Remember the movie with Christopher Reeve, Somewhere in Time, where he held the
clock, the pocket watch.
The pocket watch, and he got in period clothing, and he went back in time and met
a woman.
What's her name?
Oh, I don't know what her name is.
Oh, what is her name?
Don't ask me, because I'm never going to remember.
Jane Seymour. Whew. This is the first thing.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. And he met her, and then he fell in love with her.
Okay.
And at the time that he was, I guess, courting her, he put his hand in his pocket and he went to check the time or something. And all of a sudden he pulled out a penny from like 1970 or whatever. And then it like sucked him back into the present time.
Okay.
And then he was back.
And see, I don't remember how that ended.
He went and lived back in time with her, I do believe. I have the movie at home. I haven't seen it in years, but I love that movie.
All right, well, I think the video's gone long enough.
We just kind of like rambled on.
We could do that with books because we both read a lot of books.
Oh, yes.
So.
And the Coma Girl that was online that I missed because it was too far into it. I couldn't catch up and I couldn't get a hold of the characters. I went and bought the book, so yeah, like $12 or something. I don't know.
Okay, so the reason for this video was to announce Friday the 17th for the questions with Yvette. So I'm going to end on that.
So your questions, is this a live event on Friday?
Yes.
Cool.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Yep, it's supposed to be live, 7 o'clock. And so
7 o'clock
p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Thank you. I was going to say, what?
And she's going to send me the link, is what she said. So I don't know how that works. I don't know if that's going to be a Zoom live, a video live. I have no idea.
Well, it's going to be live, you know that.
And
but you'll know more before that, right?
And I don't know who else is going to be on it other than me. It could be, I'm not even going to say anybody's name because I have no clue. I just know that she reached out to me and I answered, yes, I would love to do it. So if she can figure out the link and she can have me on there, then by all means. So if you got questions for me or for her, go ahead, send them to me or hold on to them. But if you send them to me, we'll have them answered. You know, otherwise we're gonna have to sit and think about it, and you know, and not, we're gonna forget. At least I could do some research if you had a question and I had to research it.
Well, it's a hard question. I mean.
Yeah, whatever that would be.
I have no idea.
Think back in your memory 4 years ago. Well, forget it. Okay, I'm not gonna remember it. So
I might.
But you're funny. Okay, well that was it for today, and I'm gonna start working on this Fort Worth Fabric Studios quilt. And like I said,
I'm gonna go back downstairs.
Join me tomorrow. Yeah, join me tomorrow. There won't be any more cussing because now that I got one done, I'll get the rest of them done.
Good.
So
don't do them backwards though. Gosh, all I heard was, "Oh my gosh, I did it backwards again." I was like,
can't I match up right side together? It's like, And I said, oh, if I could have only been the background fabric, it wouldn't have made a difference. But of course it wasn't, because that's why I was upset. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, so watch me on the Fort Worth Fabric Studios. And I want to say welcome to all my new subscribers. And take care, everybody. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.